These 9 plants, they don't just block money, they attract ghosts. And you probably have one of them, right at your front door. You thought plants were safe? That anything green must be good feng shui? Think again. At your front door, where energy enters, where wealth decides to walk in or walk away, you're letting the wrong energy through. Not just bad vibes, but conflict, confusion, even spiritual unrest. Because in feng shui, not all plants protect. Some attract ghosts. Some drain your money. Some twist your home's energy so deeply that you can't focus, can't sleep. I can't figure out why life just keeps stalling. And worst of all, they're beautiful, elegant, Pinterest approved. But one by one, they're slowly choking the flow of your life. So hey, if even one of these plants shows up in your space, this video might change more than just your garden. Because when you shift the energy at your door, everything behind it starts to respond. If this already has you thinking, take a second, right now, to hit subscribe. We're building a playlist to help you rewire the entire feng shui map of your home. Step by step, one flow fix at a time. You ever seen a cactus and thought, modern, minimal, kinda powerful? Yeah, so did I. Until I learned what it really does to your home's energy. Cactus isn't a protector. It doesn't guard your door. Guards against your door. In feng shui, it's not just about looks. It's about the message. Cactus sends one loud and clear. Stay away. The mistake? Oh man. It's placing a cactus right at your front entrance, like it's some kind of modern guardian. I get it, I really do. Cactus looks bold. It feels clean, easy, almost. Protective, right? Especially when you pair it with a cool white wall or minimalist porch setup. But here's what we miss. Those spikes, they're not just cute details. They're little swords, and in feng shui, sharp shapes cut the qi. Literally. Every time you pass by that spiky little pot, even if you don't touch it, your energy reads it as a warning. Back off. Stay sharp. Don't relax here. And that's the message you're sending to your money, too. To your clients, to your peace of mind. It's wild how something so small, just a plant, right, can shift the whole mood of your front door. But yeah, that's the trap. It looks calm, but it speaks defense. You may start noticing subtle tension, like your home isn't welcoming. Clients cancel. Kids argue more. You get home and feel tight, on edge. But you blame the day, not the plant. So what do? Do you throw it out? Nope. No need to panic. The fix is honestly so simple, and honestly, kinda satisfying. First, just pick up the cactus. Gently, carefully. You know how dramatic they can be with those spikes. And then move it. Seriously. Take it away from your front door. Find a spot where boundaries actually matter, like your home office, or maybe a studio space, or even near a window where it gets sunlight but doesn't guard your main entrance. It's all about placement. A cactus is not evil. It's just loud. Too loud for the place where opportunity is supposed to walk in gently. If you love the minimalist vibe, you don't have to lose that. Swap it out with something smoother. like a jade plant or even a round-leaf succulent. Ohan, place it in a ceramic pot that feels grounded. Something with soft edges. Bonus tip: add a small piece of rose quartz in the soil. I know, sounds woo-woo, but it balances out the energy beautifully. You'll feel the difference, not just visually, but energetically, like the space around your door suddenly exhales. I had this client, single mom, graphic designer, lived in Arizona. Her front porch? Absolutely stunning. Clean stone steps, wide open view, and right there, on both sides of the entry, 2 perfect golden barrel cacti. She loved them, said they felt strong, like they gave her space edge. But she also said this thing I'll never forget. Every time I come home, it feels like I have to brace myself, like the house is holding its breath. We moved the cacti, placed them in her backyard, near her studio where she needed boundaries and focus. At the entry, we placed 2 soft ferns in ceramic pots, nothing fancy, just softer. And a week later, she texted me. I came home today and felt welcomed, like the house actually missed me. Funny how a plant can change the whole conversation, huh? Her family life shifted. Less friction, more laughter. And guess what? Within a month, she got an unexpected promotion. Was it magic? Maybe not, but it was alignment. Not everything that looks sharp should stand at your door. Now, let's talk about something even worse than cactus. A plant that isn't just aggressive, but dead. It's just one plant, right? A little dry, a little droopy. But hey, life gets busy. Except, what if that forgotten pot is quietly dragging your whole house down? In Fengshui, dead plants aren't just lifeless. They're symbolic of what you've stopped tending, of what you're still holding on to. And worse, they don't just block energy. They attract what's been stuck too long and make it stay. The mistake? Oh gosh, it's walking past a dying plant and pretending it's just a decoration. You know the one, leaves curling inward, a little yellow, the soil dry and pulled away from the edge of the pot. It sits there quietly by the door or the window, like it's still part of the home. But it's not really alive anymore. And the wild part is, we leave it there for weeks, sometimes months. Maybe because we feel guilty, maybe because it once meant something. But in Feng Shui, that's not just neglect. It's a signal. A dying plant at the entrance tells the universe, I'm okay with things fading. I tolerate decline. I'm not ready for renewal. And honestly, that energy sticks. It's like leaving a low battery sign, right where opportunity tries to knock. You don't even notice it at first. But every time you come home and see it, even for half a second, your energy dips, just a little. And if you're already tired, already stretched, that little becomes a lot. Your mornings feel slower. You forget small things like keys, names, ideas mid-sentence. Projects stay unfinished. Conversations circle without resolution. And money? It shows up, but doesn't stay. It slips through. It's like your front door becomes a revolving door for luck. Nothing lands, nothing sticks. Okay, so what do you do when a plant's basically begging to be let go? First, no guilt, please. This isn't about shame. It's about energy. Take a deep breath. Walk over to that plant. Don't just glance. Really see it. Are the leaves brittle? Is the soil pulling away from the edges? Does it lean to one side like it's too tired to keep trying? If the answer's yes, then it's time. Gently lift it out of the space. Wrap it in old newspaper, say thank you. I know, sounds weird, but trust me. And place it in your garden bin, compost, or even bury it if you can. This little act done slowly, consciously, is how you tell the universe. I release what no longer grows. I'm making space for new energy. Then clean the spot where the plant stood. Wipe it down. Maybe light a candle. Put your hand on the surface and just pause. Let that emptiness feel like possibility. And when you're ready, bring in something vibrant. It doesn't have to be fancy. A peace lily in a clean white pot. A lucky bamboo in fresh water. Even a bowl of polished stones or a simple ceramic lantern with soft light. The key is let it feel alive. Let it feel intentional. That one shift? It's like your doorway finally remembers how to breathe. I remember this woman I worked with. She lived in a small town just outside Santa Fe. Her house was lovely sunlight, soft colors, cozy porch. But she told me, it always feels like something's off, like the air's stuck. When I visited, it didn't take long. Right beside her front steps was a terracotta pot, and in it, this tiny, shriveled succulent. It had once been bright green, but now, the leaves were dull, curled in, dry as paper. She blinked when I pointed at it. Then she laughed, kinda embarrassed. Oh wow, I honestly forgot it was even there. We removed it together. She wrapped it like it was something fragile, whispered thank you. Then we cleaned the step and replaced the space with a peace lily and a small chime. A week later, she emailed me. I don't know what changed exactly, but I wake up easier. The house feels lighter. Sometimes, all it takes is noticing what you've been walking past. Her home felt lighter. Her email cleared out. She said she finally slept through the night. It wasn't just the plant. It was the energy of attention. The shift from, I'm ignoring this, to, I'm choosing flow again. Whatever you allow to decay at your door, you allow to stay in your life. And sometimes, what stays behind isn't even yours. Let's talk about the kind of plant that doesn't just hold grief, it grows it. It sways so beautifully in the wind. Soft, poetic, almost like a painting. But don't let the beauty fool you. Some trees don't lift the energy around your home. They slowly drag it down. In Fengshui, willow trees carry the energy of prolonged sadness. Not grief that moves, but grief that lingers. And when you place one at your entrance, you're not just decorating. You're inviting your home to hold sorrow. Sometimes not even yours. The mistake? Whew! It's planting a weeping willow near your front door, thinking it's graceful, poetic, even comforting. And honestly, I get it. There's something soft about it, right? The way the branches drape slowly, the leaves dance quietly in the breeze. It feels like peace. But in Feng Shui, peace has to lift. It has to rise up and greet the world. The willow? It leans, it droops, it folds inward. And when it stands at your entry, the very place energy's supposed to enter with clarity and strength, that downward pull becomes the first impression. You might not feel it the first week, or even the first month, but over time, that gentle sag becomes a symbol of tiredness, of emotional weight, of letting go too far without moving forward. And the energy around your threshold, it starts to absorb that. You might begin to feel sluggish. Relationships feel strained for no reason. There's this odd, emotional fog. And the wildest part? You'll look around and everything looks fine. But something underneath feels heavy, and no candle or sage spray seems to fix it. Clients have reported everything from chronic fatigue to emotional arguments that circle but never resolve. Some say they feel stuck in the past, or like joy is always just one layer out of reach. It's subtle at first. You sleep a little longer, skip a few calls, cancel plans. But over time, it builds, like a low-hanging fog that never clears. Okay, so let's say you already have a willow in the front yard. Maybe it's been there for years. Maybe it was planted by someone you love. So now what? Do you cut it down? No, you don't need to do anything that harsh. What you need is to rebalance. Think of it like this. If the willow pulls the energy downward, then your job is to gently lift it back up. First, place a set of metal wind chimes between the tree and the door. Doesn't have to be big or expensive. Even a small silver chime works. In Fengshui, metal cuts through heavy earth energy, and the sound helps shift emotional fog into movement. Nextad light. Oh my gosh, this one changes everything. Place a soft glow lantern near the path, or install a motion light that activates at night. Just that subtle, warm glow. It changes the whole mood from hushed sorrow to quiet strength. And finally, bring in something that grows up. A lucky bamboo. A tall snake plant. Even a vertical sculpture or garden torch. Place it closer to your front door than the willow. Let it act like an energetic gatekeeper, saying, "Hope enters here." These aren't just decorations. They're symbols. Every curve, every upward line, every flicker of light. It tells you're home. We're rising again. Even if sorrow visits, we don't stay down. There was a couple I worked with in the Pacific Northwest. Sweet, quiet, kind of introverted. They had this tall weeping willow growing right near the front left corner of their yard, which in Feng Shui connects to family and health. And they kept saying things like, "We're just always tired." It's hard to explain. It's not depression, but there's this heaviness, like we're wading through the week. I asked them to show me the front space, and the second we stepped outside, I felt it. That willow leaned so far over the walkway, the light barely touched the front door. It was beautiful, sure, but it felt like the house was ducking under something. We didn't remove it. We placed a metal sculpture with upward spirals right by the porch. We added a warm, motion sensor light. And we hung a chime low in the wind. 2 weeks later, the wife emailed me. "I don't know how to describe it. It's like the air doesn't sit on my chest anymore." Sometimes the tree doesn't need to go. It just needs someone to lift the energy beside it. Within weeks, they reported feeling more connected. Fewer health issues, softer conversations, better sleep. The tree stayed, but the energy around it finally shifted. Because when you balance what pulls down, the rest of your life starts to lift. Some plants don't just root in soil, they root in memory. Now, let's look at a different kind of restriction. Not one that pulls you down, but one that holds you small. So still, so elegant, balanced, deliberate. But beneath that calm surface is a message most people never hear. Because bonsai doesn't just sit pretty, it speaks restraint. In Fengshui, what you shrink shrinks you back. Bonsai may look refined, but energetically, it whispers, "Stay small, stay safe, don't grow too much." And when you place that at your front door, that's exactly what opportunity hears first. The mistake? Oh gosh. It's placing a bonsai tree right by your front door, thinking it brings calm, class, and spiritual zen. And hey, I get it. Bonsai is gorgeous. That tiny trunk, those perfectly clipped leaves, the way it sits there so still, like it's meditating. But here's the thing. It's also deeply restrained. That tree was shaped to stay small, trimmed again and again. Its roots are compacted. It doesn't grow freely. And when you place that energy right at your entrance, yikes, it sends a quiet but strong signal. Don't expand, stay limited, be careful. Which, let's be real, is not what you want your front door to say to the universe. I've walked into homes where the doorway had 2 matching bonsai on either side, and the moment I stepped in, I could feel it. Like the air had boundaries. Like there was this invisible ceiling right above your potential. And the wild part? Everything looked perfect. But the energy? It felt boxed in. In Feng Shui, that's huge. Your entrance is supposed to breathe, open, receive. But with a bonsai there, the chi doesn't stretch. It folds. It waits. I've seen this show up as career plateaus, or relationships that don't deepen, or income that rises just a little then stops. You feel like you're making progress, but somehow you never quite break through. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because the energy at your door is whispering, "This is the limit." Okay, so let's say you have a bonsai right now, sitting by your front door. Maybe you even love it. It was a gift, or a piece that makes your entryway look just right. But here's the shift. It's not about throwing it away. It's about putting it where its message actually helps you, not holds you back. So gently, really gently pick it up. Notice how compact the pot feels in your hands. Notice how tightly it's been living. Then move it to a quieter part of your home. A study, a bookshelf, a window ledge where you journal. Because bonsai speaks best in places of inner reflection, not where life's trying to move outward. Then breathe some air back into your entrance. Bring in a plant with open, upward energy, like a tall money tree, a peace lily with big reaching leaves, or even a lucky bamboo in a clear vase of water. If you're not into plants, no worries. Place something that symbolizes growth. A mirror with golden trim. A sculpture that curves toward the sky. And oh, this next part matters way more than people think. Add light. A warm glow by the doorway instantly tells energy, "You're welcome here. Go ahead, expand." That's what we want, right? Not perfect little control, but soft, natural space. Because once you change that story at your entrance, life doesn't feel so boxed in anymore. It starts to stretch, and you finally can breathe. I had a client once, a therapist in LA. Her space was stunning. White walls, soft music, Palo Santo always in the air. And right by the front Dortwo bonsai trees. Perfectly clipped, perfectly mirrored. I complimented them and she smiled. They're my pride. They make the space feel intentional. But then she paused. Lately, though, my practice feels stuck. like I'm attracting the same kind of clients over and over. Chaotic, short-term, never ready to go deep. We looked closer. Her door was narrow. The bonsai flanked it like two tiny guards. Beautiful, but also restrictive. I suggested moving them to her private office, a space for quiet insight, not open flow. Then we added 2 tall peace lilies on each side of the entrance. Something soft, upward, alive. A month later, she called. Her words were simple. Everything feels different now, like my clients can finally breathe here. Sometimes, the shift isn't in what you remove, but where you let it speak. Her business started flowing again. She raised her rates, got featured in a local wellness magazine, and most importantly, she said she finally felt in sync with her space. The energy wasn't holding her back anymore. It was holding her up. Beautiful things can still carry limits. And sometimes, what holds you in is sitting right by your front door. Now let's look at a plant that doesn't restrict you. It entangles you. They climb, they curl, and they look so romantic on Pinterest. But vines? They don't just grow, they cling. In Fengshui, anything that wraps or binds carries binding energy. Creeping vines may look dreamy, but energetically, they tangle the chi. Especially when they grow near your entrance. They don't just block flow, they trap it. The mistake? Letting ivy or any kind of creeping vine crawl up the walls or railings near your front door. And listen, I get it. It looks vintage, kinda European, super cozy. But oh my gosh, it clings. These plants grow by attaching themselves, brick by brick, nail by nail. And when they get close to your front entrance, they start to slow everything down. The chi doesn't flow in freely. It gets caught, pulled sideways. You might feel like opportunities take forever to arrive, or like your thoughts keep looping back, like life is on pause even though you're trying. And it's sneaky too, because you'll look outside and think, oh, it's just a few vines, it's pretty. But energy-wise, it's like spiritual cobwebs. Delicate, sure, but they catch everything. One client told me she always felt like she was working twice as hard for half the return. Her front porch had ivy wrapping the railing, the columns, even part of the door frame. And inside the house, things kept getting delayed. Checks arriving late. Emails going unanswered. It wasn't sabotage. It was snagged energy, pulling things out of flow. First things first, don't panic. You don't have to rip out every vine overnight, but you do need to clear the path around your entrance. Start by trimming the vines back at least 3 feet away from your front door. Yep, 3 whole feet. That space gives chi enough room to move in, fully, directly, without interference. Next, sweep and wash the threshold. I'm serious. Even a quick saltwater wipe down helps reset the frequency. And final add something upright and clean. A vertical planter, a tall stone, even a welcome sign made of wood or metal. Something that says, flow here is open, nothing clings, everything moves. Because that's what you want at the mouth of your home. Clear, confident energy that walks in. A woman I worked with in Charleston had ivy completely covering one side of her porch. She loved it, said it reminded her of old Southern charm. But inside, she was exhausted, always chasing payments, always feeling like things got almost there and stalled. We trimmed the ivy back, cleaned the space, added 2 tall, narrow water features on either side of the entry. Within a month, she said her work felt easier. Clients booked faster. She even found a missing check that had been lost for weeks. Sometimes, all it takes is letting your entrance breathe again. Her income stabilized. Her schedule cleared up. And she told me, "I don't feel tangled anymore." The vines were beautiful, but so was the freedom of clean, flowing chi. Not all beauty brings ease. Some beauty binds. Let's wrap this up with a gentle reminder. Sometimes the most dangerous blocks are the ones that look the most graceful. Delicate, faded, still, like time captured in petals. But in Fengshui, what's dried is also stuck. You might think dried flowers preserve beauty, but energetically, they preserve stagnation. They hold the moment something ended, not the energy to begin again. The mistake? Keeping dried flowers around your entrance, or worse, inside your money corner. And yep, it's a common one. Maybe it was from your anniversary bouquet, or flowers you saved from a loved one's funeral. So meaningful, so sentimental. But oh no, that energy, it's stuck in goodbye. Dried flowers aren't alive. They no longer grow. They don't breathe. And in Feng Shui, anything without movement, without life force, quietly drags down the qi. Especially near your entryway or wealth corner, you might feel like inspiration is harder to find. Like your space looks good, but doesn't feel right. Or like money comes in, then nothing. No flow, just freeze. I've seen people hold onto dried roses in perfect glass domes, and somehow their finances stay just enough. Beautiful home, stable job, but no movement, no expansion. And emotionally, things feel like they're in memory mode, not future mode. That kind of stuckness can make you tired, like you're constantly reminiscing instead of receiving. So here's what I tell clients, and what I've done myself too, honestly. If you've got dried flowers near your door, or sitting quietly in the wealth corner of your home, pause. Really look at them. The color, faded. The stems, brittle. The petals, paper thin. They might still be pretty, but their message? It's frozen. None. Step 1. Say goodbye gently. I know, it feels weird to talk to flowers, but whisper something like, "Thank you. You are loved. You brought beauty, and now I release you." You can even light a little tea candle nearby, or play soft music while you do it. Step 2. Return them to the earth. Compost them, bury them, or scatter them in your garden. That part matters, because it shifts the energy from stillness to cycle, from holding to flow. Step 3. Replace them with something alive. A small vase of fresh flower 7. Just one single stem. A healthy leafy plant. Or if that's too much upkeep, a bowl of citrus. Seriously, lemons or oranges, they work wonders. And for that special emotional memory, try a framed photo, a soft scarf, a handwritten note in a drawer. You're not forgetting the meaning. You're just choosing to keep it in a form that breathes. Because when the space around you breathes, your life can too. And wow, you'll feel the difference almost immediately. I once worked with a woman in Portland, an artist. Her space was stunning, full of dried floral arrangements. perfectly placed in ceramic vases. But she kept saying, "I haven't felt inspired in months. I'm not blocked. I'm just blank." I asked her to walk me through her studio. Every corner, soft browns, wilted edges, petals paused in time. We cleared just 2 vases, replaced them with living eucalyptus and 1 bright golden pothos. She called a week later. I painted for the first time in 5 weeks, and I didn't even try. It just flowed. She didn't toss everything, but the act of releasing some of it broke the holding pattern. Suddenly, commissions came in again. Her energy felt lighter, and more than that, her home started to breathe. Some beauty belongs to the past, and that's okay as long as you don't live there. Ready to clear 1 more hidden block? Let's talk about what happens when the thing by your door is already dead. You know that plant, the one that's been almost alive for weeks? Yeah, that brown stem in the corner? It's doing more than just sitting there. In Fengshui, a dead plant doesn't just signal neglect. It actively drains the qi around it, especially near your entrance, where energy first touches your home. Not decay, it echoes. The mistake? Leaving dead plants anywhere near the front door. Or worse, right inside the entry hall. You might not even notice them anymore. A pot by the steps with withered soil. A tall fiddle leaf that dropped its last leaf 3 weeks ago. Maybe you're hoping it'll come back. Or maybe you just haven't had time to throw it out. But oof. Every time someone walks in, they pass the energy of something dying. In Feng Shui, your entrance is your first handshake with the universe. And dead plants? That's like showing up with sadness in your palm. It makes the whole space feel heavier, slower, like something's stuck, and no one's acknowledging it. I once had a woman tell me, "Every time I step inside my house, I feel this tiny weight I can't explain." She had a rosemary bush in a pot by her porch, totally dry, branches cracking, and right inside her door, another potted plant leafless. She thought it was harmless, but her energy? Always flat, like nothing was really moving forward. And the weird part? She kept trying, but life just felt paused. All right, let's breathe for a sec. Dead plants happen. It's not a failure, it's life. But here's the thing: what you do next, that's where the magic lives. Step 1. Acknowledge it. Walk up to that plant, yes, the one you've walked past 20 times. Look at it closely. The dried leaves, the soil, crusted and cold. Maybe even a little dust on top. Say something soft like, "Thank you for trying. You were part of this home. I'm letting you go now." It might sound silly, but energy listens. Step 2. Remove with care. Not rushed, not like trash. Carry it out slowly like you're making space for something sacred. If possible, compost it, or bury it under a tree. If that's not doable, gently wrap it and discard it with respect. That gesture alone changes everything. Step 3. Clear the space it left behind. Wipe down the area with warm water and a pinch of salt. Maybe open a window nearby. Let the light in. Even a single ray of sunlight makes a difference. Step 4. Invite something new. Doesn't have to be fancy. A fresh herb plant by the window. A bowl of limes. A candle that smells like citrus. And if you're not ready for another plant just yet, that's okay. Try a symbol. A crystal. A photo of a blooming garden. What matters most isn't the object. It's the invitation. You're telling the energy, this home is alive, we grow here. And wow, when you say that with your space, you'll feel it like a quiet yes in the air. I remember visiting a home in New Mexico. The view was stunning, the decor elegant, but the porch had a tall, dead plant right by the bell. I asked gently, "Has that always been there?" The owner blinked. "I don't even see it anymore." We removed it, cleaned the corner, added a tall lantern with soft light. A month later, she texted, "I feel like my house finally greets me. Not reminds me what I forgot to fix." After that one simple shift, her mood changed. Visitors even commented, "Your home feels so welcoming now." That heaviness, it left with the pot. A home that holds death at the door will never feel fully alive. And speaking of things that don't quite belong, let's talk about what happens when energy hangs above your head. You ever walk under something and feel like you're being watched? Like something's just there, hanging, hovering, waiting? That's the vibe some plants give off, especially when they're in the wrong place. Fengshui isn't anti-plants. It's anti-misplaced energy. And hanging plants? If they're too low, too many, or in certain zones, they don't just block energy. They drip it. Like leaky wealth. Or worse, they create ghost spots. Places where chi gets stuck, confused, or agitated. The mistake? Hanging plants right over your entry door, or above your head in narrow halls, or worse clustered in the wealth corner. You might think it's aesthetic. It softens the space. But, oh, no. In Feng Shui, anything hanging directly over a major flow line, like a doorway, a money path, or a headspace, can cause dripping qi. That means wealth energy doesn't enter confidently. It hesitates. And over time, you might feel foggy, unfocused, even a bit haunted by the same money cycles. Same paycheck, same debt, same feeling of being almost there. Because yeah, when energy keeps hitting its head on leaves, it stops climbing. One woman told me, "I have so many hanging pothos in my entryway. They make it feel lush like a jungle." But every time she tried to start a new business, it fizzled. New clients would ghost. Contracts would stall. And emotionally, she felt like money just floated through never landed. Turns out, that's exactly what was happening. Her chi was getting lost in the vines. So what do? You raise the energy. Literally. First, check height. If any plant is hanging lower than your eye level, especially in key zones, that's the first red flag. Especially near the front door, the main hallway, your wealth corner back left from entry. Pull those plants up, or move them to a spot where they're not above headspace. Second, declutter clusters. Too many hanging plants equals tangled chi, just like tangled cords. Let each one breathe. A single well-placed trailing ivy near a window? Beautiful. 5 bunched above your couch? Yikes. Third, replace some of that energy with upward flow. Think tall lamps, crystals on shelves, wind chimes just outside the door, not inside. Something that says, "Chai rises here, wealth settles in." And hey, if you still love trailing plants, use them low, by the floor, Let them ground the space, not hover in limbo. A client of mine in Atlanta had a boho-style entry. Macrame hangers, dozens of vines drooping above the front rug. She said, "It's cozy, but I always feel watched. Like I never really relax when I walk in." We took them all down, moved two to a sunroom, raised one above the window, high and clear. Then we added 2 bamboo flute sewn on each side of the door. A week later, she laughed on the phone. For the first time in months, I walked in and didn't feel creeped out. And guess what? She landed a surprise freelance gig that same day. Energy flows better now. Money isn't hesitating. She feels lighter, clearer, like something finally got lifted. What floats above you shapes what you carry within. And now, one last plant. Beautiful, dangerous, and hiding in plain sight. Let's talk about the ones that look sweet, but carry actual poison. Not all beauty brings peace. Some charm the eye, while quietly disturbing the soul. In Fengshui, a few plants do more than misalign energy. They attract chaos. You might be shocked, but certain plants are said to draw in restless spirits, not through superstition, but through the kind of energy they give off. Toxic, disruptive. And when placed near your home's entry, they don't just repel wealth, they invite trouble. The mistake? Growing poisonous plants near your front door or in the southeast wealth zone. They look gorgeous. Glossy leaves, vibrant flowers. But under the surface, they carry toxins. Oleander, Dieffenbachia, peace lily in some cases. Some are dangerous to pets, others to children, and many are harmful in energetic ways too. Feng Shui treats the home like a living system, and introducing hidden harm even in beauty causes a subtle but constant energetic anxiety. That means missed money calls, unexpected emotional outbursts, a sense of being unsettled, like something's off. It's like your home is smiling, but something behind the smile is tense. One woman had a row of oleander shrubs along her fence. Gorgeous pink blossoms. But inside, constant tension. Her husband was always on edge. Her daughter had vivid nightmares. And her own business deals kept falling apart at the very last minute. It was subtle, nothing obvious. But the flow of trust in that home, it was breaking. First, identify the plants. Look up your landscaping. If anything on your property is listed as poisonous, especially to humans or animals, mark it. Step 1. Relocate or remove. If possible, move the plant away from your front door and living areas. If it feels right, let it go entirely. And don't worry, there are plenty of safe, vibrant plants to replace it. Step 2. Energetic cleanse. After removal, burn a little dried rosemary or Palo Santo at the threshold. Let smoke gently swirl, like you're resetting the portal of your home. Light a candle. Say, "This is a space of health, safety, and open wealth." Step 3. Plant for peace. Bamboo, jade plant, lavender. They nourish qi. And more importantly, they invite calm. Your doorway should feel like a welcome, not a warning. Feng Shui teaches, what you grow, you live. I worked with a retired nurse in Santa Barbara. Her garden was lush, but felt strangely tight. Her daughter, visiting from New York, said, "I love you, but staying here gives me headaches." Turned out, oleanders lined the walkway. right up to the entry. We removed them gently, planted rosemary and peace lilies instead. 2 weeks later, she called me and said, "I don't know if it's in my head, but for the first time in years, my home feels soft." That same week, a delayed inheritance check finally came through. Her garden bloomed wildly, and her sleep? Peaceful. Her energy was no longer defending itself. Even beauty can block you when it's laced with danger. So now that you've walked through 9 hidden plant traps, let's clear your path once and for all, with 3 actions that restore peace and invite wealth back home. 1. Do a 3-minute plant audit. Walk from the outside of your front door all the way to your kitchen. Just notice. Which plants make you feel heavy? Dusty? Too much? You don't need to fix them all today. Just see them. That awareness alone starts the shift. 2. Remove 1 energy blocker tonight. Choose one. That dried flower you forgot to toss. The dead pot sitting quietly on your porch. The ivy that's been crawling a little too far. Whisper, "I see you, I release you, we grow now." Then remove it gently. No stress. No guilt. Just movement. 3. Welcome Chi at your door. Right after sunset tonight, light a small candle near your entry. Just one. Even a tea light will do. Say softly, "This home calls in wealth. This space welcomes peace. This door opens to abundance." Then leave it for 15 minutes. Let the glow do the talking. So, hey, maybe it's not the plants themselves. Maybe it's what they're whispering when we're not listening. A withered leaf by the door. A vine that chokes instead of climbing. These things don't shout. They hum. And if we pause just for a moment, we can hear them. Clear me. Heal this. Make room. Fengshui isn't about fear. It's about clarity. Because when you invite the right flow back in, even your money starts to breathe easier. What's one plant near your entry that's been bugging you quietly? Comment it below and let's fix it together. And hey, if this video opened your eyes a little, there's more coming in this Feng Shui for the Real World series. So, subscribe, stay close, and maybe light a candle tonight. Just because.